Hey gang, welcome back. And if this is your first time checking out the channel, hopefully you'll stick around. So I recently ordered this RGT X a whole bunch of numbers Pro V2 kit from Banggood, also known as the FTX Outback Fury 2.0. I've always been interested in the RGTs, and then while this kit version is actually fully assembled, there is no electronics. So that means we get to put our own electronics in it. What I intend on doing is 45 kg high torque metal core steering servo and HOBBYWING Fusion Quicrun SE 1200 kV brushless motor. Now I already opened the box because, as you can see, it was damaged. I just wanted to check it out, but I haven't really done much apart from quick eyeball test. So it comes with your wheels not mounted, which is ideal. Can't really tell how they feel yet. Comes with a really awesome sticker sheet actually, but some of the stuff is Chinese, so I'd say probably half of the stickers are Chinese. And it also comes with a pinion gear, which is nice because I spent quite a lot of time searching to see if it had a pinion gear, and there was no product description on any site that said whether or not it came with a pinion gear. I couldn't get an answer from RGT, so I bought some pinion gears, but they included one. So now I have spare pinion gears. So there's our kit, our roller. And I will say that these axles are beefy, man. They're super heavy. I don't even know if 45 kg is going to be enough. So a question you would have is, well, what is the difference between a Pro and a Pro V2? Well, apart from the Pro having stickers for tint on these, I guess they put out a quote-unquote upgrade kit for the Pro, and that was essentially all metal everything. And from what I understand, everything on this is metal except for the motor case, which I think is plastic. And of course it has body pins. Everyone's favorite body pins. I did notice something pretty interesting. They flipped it. So this is the rear where your receiver box is. And in the other versions, this was actually the front, because you mounted your servo here and you put your ESC here. But for whatever reason, they flipped it around and it's no longer a chassis mounted servo. It's servo on axle. Not sure about suspension. I'll have to get it out to really test it. You got some good choices for your shock mounts. Like I said, everything on here is metal. You have a carbon fiber chassis, and essentially everything is metal. Drive shafts, suspension links, steering links, axles, gears. We'll find out if the gear in here is actually metal. So yeah, this is plastic, but we'll find out if the gear in there is metal. Throw it in the comments what you think, because I'm going to take a guess and say that it's not metal, but we're going to find out. Another concern I have is whether or not the servo I have will reach all the way back to this receiver box, but we're going to find that out. So first things first, let's get the receiver in. Actually, you know what, before that, if you do buy this, like, I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. It was like 320 bucks. I don't know, it's kind of expensive. Just something I wanted to play with and test out. When I got it, some of these bearings were popping out, so just keep an eye on those if you do get it. It's something you want to look over and make sure that they're not falling out, because I had to reseat them in there. All right, so we'll get a receiver in there, servo mounted up, and the motor installed, tires mounted. And here, let's look at these. So That's me pushing on it. There's not too much deformation there. I like the lugs on them. They're not very sticky, and these are glued, right? So it's not really a bead lock, and it looks like kind of a poor job, to be honest with you. You can, if you pull on it a little bit, you can actually tear the glue right off. I'm gonna run them with these just for the hell of it, and then I may just throw these on as a quick test in between, and then maybe mount something else up. I did read that some people complained that the stance wasn't wide enough, so I got some extenders for it, and we'll see. All right, the receiver is mounted. It's bound to this Radiolink remote. Servo is mounted. I programmed the Fusion SC when I was testing everything. Hopefully I don't have to program it again, because I don't know if it's in here counterclockwise or clockwise. A couple things I need to correct. When I said everything is metal, everything except these rock sliders and the mounts for them, the bumper, the D-rings, rear bumper, those are all plastic. And I did fill in here, and it's actually a metal gear inside the gearbox, which is awesome. There is a problem with the length here. I'm gonna need to get an extender. It's just enough, but I feel it's gonna put stress on either end, and that's concerning for me. So if you could see, basically that's the length right there. You don't really have much play. All right, let's see if I could get this motor mounted. All right, so I have the gear cover off, the gearbox, and this actually is not metal, it's plastic. It felt that way, but once you get it off, it's clearly plastic. I'm gonna mount the provided grub screw. We'll have to also remove the battery tray. I can't get to it with the battery tray in there. Grub screw definitely needs to come down. All right, let's see if I can get that screwed in. Okay, so that was actually a pain in the ass. I had to remove the shock towers and then remove the tray that had the old servo on it and where the receiver's mounted. The motor was set to counterclockwise. I had to change it over to clockwise, but I got it meshed. The screws that came, the mounting screws, they're too long. So it's always a good idea to have something like this, screw kit. So I found two that were perfect length, but it's meshed up. Sounds beautiful. Like you barely even hear it. So yeah, that's done. Now I have to get the gearbox case back on, put the shock towers and that tray back on. Then I can actually put tires on this thing and get it running. It hasn't been that challenging and taking that long, apart from meshing this and having to search for screws and having to remove that. It was frustrating having to take this off, but all in all, it hasn't been too bad. Do note, there are no axle pins. They do not come with axle pins. They're not in any of the bags. So keep that in mind if you want to tackle something like this. Don't assume that they're going to give you axle pins. These are the standoffs that I was talking about. I'm not going to put them on now, but there are axle pins in here, thankfully. So, all right, get this put back together, get the tires on, and then we'll go from there. All right, no axle pins, no axle hexes. I didn't have any spare axle hexes, so I used the standoffs. Everything's mounted up, secured, taped down. I haven't put the details on the body yet. If you're gonna run the light, you're gonna have to have an extender. There's no way you're gonna be able to pull the body off, I mean. All right, so let's get the body on. Like I said, I haven't added any of the windshield wipers, door handles, and stuff like that yet. Just want to get it out. That's what she looks like. What do you think? I think it looks pretty good. They give you tons of stickers. I just don't really know what to do with them. I wonder if you can get an interior for this. It looks like one would fit. All right, I'm gonna take it outside. All right, gang, it's actually the next day. Before taking this out on a proper run, I just took it in the backyard, and there is so much slop in the front and rear axles that I literally lost 2 axle pins. In order to try to circumvent that, I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to pick it up, but I added some O-rings in here to try to prevent it from going back and forth the best I could. I'm not confident that it's gonna hold up, so I'm gonna need to find a proper solution for that. I'm not sure the standoffs are the best idea, but I will say that I absolutely love the stance. I think it looks really good that far out. Please ignore the fact that this tire is backwards. Also, this gearbox is supposed to have a 10.6% overdrive, and I haven't tested that yet to just see if there's overdrive at all. So I'm going to do that, and before I take it on a proper run, I'm going to swap out those tires. They look good, but I just don't feel they perform very well. So let me get this up on a stand. All right, I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick it up, but just threw some tape on there, try to color it a little bit. So with overdrive, you would expect one tire to turn more per revolution than the other. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of throttle. Yep, so it's actually functioning, which is great. I'm glad I tested it. All right, just gonna swap out these tires, and then I'm actually gonna take it to the creek and see how well it does. All right, so taking it out on its first run, just gonna recap my thoughts. Gonna go over what I didn't like and what I do like about the truck. First thing is, I mentioned earlier, there's far too much play in the axles. That's going to need to be resolved. The O-ring solution is just a band-aid. I need to probably figure out a shim solution for that. Something else I don't like is the body pins in the back. They're actually a pain in the ass to get in, because you try to get them in there and the roll bar kind of gets in the way. Another thing is, this isn't a deal breaker for me, but I wish they would have provided axle hexes and axle pins, because I mean, I'm using the standoffs and I absolutely love the look. I love the stance, which brings me to the next point, and this isn't about the truck, it's about the body, or the standoffs that I bought. These won't stay in, they constantly come loose. So I mean, I'm going to link them in the description so you know which ones to be wary of. If you put some thread locker in there, they'll probably stay. I'm not sure I want to do that. I ordered a different set. These are 20 millimeter. Ordered a different set of 15. We'll see if those do a better job of staying in. Like as you see in the video, a stud actually fell out into the water, into the sand in the water. Luckily I was able to find it. So what I do like about this is, number one, there's no electronics, and you can put your own in there and not have to worry about replacing electronics that they skimped on to save money. In addition to that, I don't need any more transmitter. I have enough transmitters, so being able to use the Radiolink and consolidate is ideal. Secondly, as you can see in the video, at some points this thing's ability to climb vertically is really impressive. I didn't expect that. A couple climbs I definitely expected it to tip over and loop out, but it just pulled itself up. So super happy about that. It articulates really well. Still not 100% sure on the shocks. I'm going to continue to run them kind of how they are. They may need to be upgraded, but there wasn't anything in the run that stood out to me about the shocks underperforming. Next, I mean, I may be in the minority here, but I think the body looks pretty dope. Also, the metal axles do a great job of keeping the tires planted, and they, like I said, they're super heavy, dude, and you could tell the weight does a real great job of keeping the tires planted. I love that all the steering and suspension links are metal, but it's not just the metal links, it's actually, this suspension links are high clearance links. So thank you for that, RGT. And lastly, this thing goes for about $300 to $320 US, and if you put $100 in it, you're at $400, $420, and you get exactly what you want. A machine that can articulate, stay planted, has all the metal upgrades, and you have the motor, servo, and receiver that you want in it. It's a shame about the play in the axles, because everything else is pretty great. Oh, there's actually one other thing I forgot to mention. So the screw holes in this chassis came stripped from the factory. You can't screw these in any better than that, so that's going to need to be solved for. This is the rear bumper. I haven't even checked the video yet, because I record this after I do the run and then I edit the video, the running footage. So I don't know how often it's actually down in the video yet. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing. So the question would be, would I recommend this? And the answer is, if you can solve the axle slot problem, I would do it. I think it performs really, really well for the price. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like the wider stance? How did the running footage look? What would you do different? Would you go with brushed motor with a different ESC? Would you even consider buying a kit like this? Is this something that you would be interested in, or is it just straight like RTR is what you want? All right, I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for sticking around. See you on the next one.